Have you ever found yourself just staring at a Linux terminal, totally wondering how in the world you're supposed to install new software? Well, you are definitely not alone. It can look a little cryptic at first, but honestly, it's one of the most powerful features Linux has. So today, we're going to break it all down and demystify package management so you can install pretty much anything you want and do it with competence.
So, yeah, the big question. How do you install stuff on Linux? It's not always like other operating systems where you just have one single app store. Linux does things a little differently. And yeah, it might seem a bit scattered at first, but you're about to see why this method gives you incredible power and a ton of flexibility.
Okay, first things first, we need to get one key term out of the way: package. It's simple, really. A package is just the software you want to install, all bundled up into a single file. You can think of it just like a .exe file on Windows or a .dmg file on a Mac. And for the Linux world we're talking about today, Debian-based systems like Ubuntu, these files end in .deb. That's it.
So, if you've got all these packages, how do you manage them? Well, that's where the package manager comes in. This thing is your absolute mission control for all the software on your system. It's the tool that finds, installs, updates, and even removes software for you. Seriously, understanding this one tool is the real key to mastering installations on Linux.
So here's the journey, our little installation quest for today. We're going to start with the basics, the low-level stuff, using a tool called DPKG. Then we'll level up and meet the real hero of the story, apt. After that, we'll check out some more modern tools before we put everything together for a final mission, installing an app straight from GitHub. Let's get started.
All right, our first stop is DPK, which is short for Debian Package. Now, we're starting with this foundational tool for a very specific reason. We're going to do it the hard way first, because once you understand its limits, you'll really appreciate the power of what's coming next.
Using DPKG is a totally manual process. I mean, you literally have to go out on the internet, hunt down the right deb file, and download it yourself. Then you open up a terminal and run a command that looks something like this. And that sudo at the front, that just means superuser do. It's you giving the command permission to make system-level changes. But this whole process reveals the first major flaw. You have to do all the work yourself.
And that manual work often leads straight to this, the dreaded error message. You'll run your command, and bam, you get something about dependency problems. So what does that even mean? It means the software you're trying to install needs other pieces of software to work, but DPKG has no idea how to find or install them for you. It's basically just hit a brick wall.
So let's just recap the two huge flaws with DPKG. One, you have to manually find every single file, and two, it does not handle dependencies for you. It's basically saying, hey, this thing you want needs 5 other things to work, but you're on your own. Good luck. This is what people call dependency hell. And trust me, it is not a fun place to be.
But this is where our high-level hero swoops in to save the day. Meet apt, which stands for Advanced Package Tool. It was literally designed to solve the exact problems we just ran into, and believe me, it absolutely lives up to its name.
This chart just lays it all out perfectly, doesn't it? While DPKG makes you do all the heavy lifting, apt is the smart, high-level tool that does it for you. It doesn't just find the package you ask for, it automatically figures out and installs all of those annoying dependencies. It just works.
Okay, so this probably sounds a little bit like magic, right? You just type in a name and apt does all the rest. So how in the world does it actually pull this off?
The secret sauce here is something called a repository. You can think of a repository as a massive online server, kind of like a giant digital library that stores thousands and thousands of software packages that have already been tested and approved. So when you use apt, it's not just blindly searching the internet, it's looking through a curated list of these trusted libraries.
And the workflow for apt is just beautifully simple. Step 1, and this is super important, you always run sudo apt update first. This downloads the latest catalog from the library so your system knows about all the newest books or software. Once that's done, you just run sudo apt install and the name of the package. That's it. Apt takes care of the rest.
And apt is a complete toolkit. It's not just for installing. You can remove an application, or if you want to get rid of every single trace of it, you can purge it. You can even search for new software right from your terminal or get more info with show. And my personal favorite, you can upgrade your entire system with one command. It's your one-stop shop for software.
Now, apt is going to be your best friend, your daily driver for sure. But the Linux world is always evolving, so let's level up our game and take a quick look at some of the more modern and specialized tools you're probably going to run into.
So in this slide, we've got two different modern approaches. On the left, there's Snap. You can think of this as kind of an app store for Linux. It bundles an app with all its dependencies into one universal package. So a single snap for something like VS Code can run on almost any Linux system. Pretty cool. On the right, you have the specialist tools, like PiP for Python. These are an absolute must for developers because they manage all the specific little libraries a coding project needs to run.
All right, it's time for our final mission. Let's combine everything we've learned and tackle a real-world scenario: installing a project directly from GitHub. This is a workflow you are going to use all the time as a Linux user.
Look at this. Check out how all of our tools work together in harmony. First, we use our hero, apt, to install Git, the tool we need to talk to GitHub. Then, in step 2, we use Git itself to clone or download the project's code. Once we're inside the project folder, we see that it's a Python project. So for step 4, we use our specialist tool pip3 to install all of its dependencies. And finally, we can run the program. This is the Linux ecosystem in action.
Okay, let's bring it all home with a final cheat sheet. Use DPK only when you absolutely have to, like when you've downloaded a specific .deb file. For 95% of everything you do, apt is your go-to. When you want a modern, self-contained app, look into Snap. And if you're doing any development work, you'll be using specialist tools like PiP for Python and Git for pulling down code. You now have a complete map to navigate the entire ecosystem.
And that's it. You've gone from the manual way to the smart way, and you've even peeked into the more advanced stuff. You've officially leveled up, and you've got a powerful new toolkit at your command. So the only real question left is, what cool new thing will you build on your next Linux quest?